So today we are going to our continuous part of our from the study class, you can say. And
Yeah.
yesterday we discuss theoretically what is the concept of multi-threading, right?
Right.
And what is the thread? So simple say thread means your a single execution of your program only, right?
Right.
So till now I started say whenever you're writing any program by default that is executed by the Java thread, and that is the main thread. So how to know which is the thread running by this code? This construction is executed by which uh, thread? So this is the one uh, class is the class name is a thread. Thread is the class name and have a method like current thread name. So when
Current thread.
you
Okay.
run this this line is executed by which thread you know the name, right?
Right.
So notice this OK is print by thread and that name is the main. Okay.
So thread means the name of the method. That's the name means thread or
No, no. Thread is the process which executing your this code. You return system.out at printer. Okay. The question is that who is going to request OS? Hey OS, I want to print this,
okay.
right? The
Mm.
who is that is the name of the thread. Thread is the uh, responsible to execute your code.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay.
Thread is not a method. Thread is not a code. Thread is responsible to execute your instruction, right?
So every time we run something, thread is responsible in the
Thread,
background.
yes, thread is the responsible to request, hey operating system, I have a three instruction, a three line. Can you execute me? So
Mm.
operating system always understand the thread or process. They don't know about the Java language and they don't know about the other syntax semantic, right?
Right.
Operating system know, okay, I have a someone give me instruction. So who is someone? Someone is the thread. Someone is the some process, right? So
Right.
Java only understand the process. A process have a some child like in the case of our Java application, JVM is the process. The JVM one process is started. Inside the process, multiple thread can run. The inside the process, one thread is the main thread. Main thread is responsible to printing everything in the main method,
Mm.
right? So from OS perspective, OS don't know about the Java language or don't know about anything. OS only know each process, okay, like a service, like a software install on the machine, right? So we whenever
Right.
we install our JVM, Java know okay, Java but JVM is a process, okay. At any time JVM can request me a- anytime JVM want to use my CPU. Okay, OS means central processing CPU. CPU have a lots of calculation power, right? They can do something, right?
Yeah.
So now our operating system know there is a one software JVM already installed my machine. Sometime whenever they are going to run, they are demanding to access my resources as a CPU, as a memory, right?
Right.
So operating system nothing. Operating system is a combination of some tools like operating system as a central processing unit CPU, right? And the memory have a so now JVM want to run this line of code system.out.println. They required some memory, they required some CPU, right? So they request, hey operating system, allocate me your CPU and memory. I am going to execute this line of code, right?
Yes.
So the requester is the JVM process, right? Okay, process. And the process also have a some child sub process, maybe thread 1, thread 2, thread 3, multiple thread can be. The by default JVM is not going to request. JVM just create our one thread. Hey thread, go and uh, take allocation of CPU and memory and print this work whatever the user want, right? So this is the thread. Thread is not a program. Thread is a requester, or a, you can say, or the job, or the process, or the thread which is responsible to executing your code. This,
Right. Okay.
okay. So by default, whenever Java designer come, Java designer say कि whatever you are written inside the main method. Okay. By default, this is printed or executed by your main thread. That is the name of just main thread, right?
Right. Oh, okay. Okay. I see. I see.
Main thread is a thread name which is responsible to execute all the things that are you written inside the main method.
Okay.
Okay. So question is ka, like main thread, can generate my thread as well as currently they have a in our JVM by default only one thread, main thread is started, right? This is the main thread, right?
Hmm.
Main thread is started. Whatever the written inside the main method, okay, main method, they are going to execute. For executing, they require the CPU, they required memory, right? They required memory. So CPU in memory are controlled under the operating system. So JVM say, hey, I want to use your CPU and memory. Okay, so the things, the activity we are requesting here, demanding, hey, give me your CPU and give me some memory so that I can execute my this instruction system 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So this channel, this requester known as a thread. This is the thread. This thread have a, this work is print one, print two, print three. These are the sign, whatever the written inside your main method. This is the known as the
Right.
instruction or line of code. The line of code is executed by one thread. That is a thread, right?
Right.
Main is not a thread. Whatever written inside the instruction, the activity, the process, the thread going to request run on this CPU, right? Finally, everything in done in our computer by the central processing CPU, processing unit, right? Without CPU, our system could not do anything, right?
Right.
Okay. So it's clear what is the thread and what is the main method. Main method only contain the set of line. Set of lines, also known as a set of instruction, right? Our program, our code, whatever you can say. So this program, this code is executed by someone. Someone is your thread. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Surely, as a human being, we are not going to use the CPU to done my job. So generally, our thread, or you can say process, have this capability. They can use this CPU and memory to achieve my objective. Is
Yeah.
it clear? Any confusion till now?
I got it.
Okay. So till now, whatever you written is inside the main method, right? I started say line one, line two, all is the done by your main thread by default. Maybe okay. Started say line one, okay. Or instruction one, instruction two, whatever thing, right?
Right.
Whenever you run and you find your thread name by default is the your main. This is the so question, can I write different method than what? Let's carry out another method, right? Static, void, and other method, okay? Another method one, right?
Right.
Another method, if write something here, another method here, another method one, right? So this is another method one, right? Another method one, right? But if you return and but whenever run program is only responsible to run whatever is in the main method, right? So you
Right.
notice only I'm getting line two, line two. I'm not getting this until someone going to not call them, right?
Right.
So if I am going to calling them here, here let's say I'm going to calling them here, and let's key start, start, and let it complete, done. Okay. Whenever I'm calling this, notice first this line print. After that, control goes here, this line print and this line print, right?
Right.
So what is the meaning? This means ki inside I retain everything, that is all the lines executed by only the main method, right? Main method, main thread, sorry, right? Even we have
Mhm.
another method, still this method is executed by, requested by, run by my main thread only, right? So question is that ki how we as a developer, I want to have another method, but I want this would be not done by main thread, it would be done by some my thread, right? Instead of re, right?
Right.
If I run again, I run the code because this method is not called anywhere, this is not executed, right? So if I am going to call from main method, from main method, oh, another, okay. So that means again this code, yeah, this line is executed by again main thread because they are calling from the main method, right?
Right.
So by default nature of the Java language is whatever you're writing, always one thread, single thread, main thread is executing every line. Note all the lines are executed by the only main thread, right?
Right.
Now we have to learn. No, I don't want all the activities is only done by one person. Here thread, just understand thread means person. Thread means one person. Okay,
Right.
as a understanding, this is the one person have a do job like print line 1, then go line 2, then 3, then again print come here, then here, then here. In this way we are getting output. So by default only one person doing one by one by one. So I can start another person here and say ki, hey, one person can do only these two jobs and one person can do this job, right? This is the two line done by this one and this two done by this one, right?
Right.
So that we can distribute the load. What the benefit? Our task is completed early, right? Is it not? Or is it?
It is.
Let's
Yeah.
say we have a four work and I have only one person. The one person going to done work, done complete one, done two done, three done, four done, five done. Five activity one person is doing, that will take maybe X amount of time, right?
Right.
Whenever I say no, this five activity have, but I want to divide in the two person. So might be person one take just line one, line two, and line three. So they can done some less time than X, right? Because they don't do done this work and this work. This work done by another work, another person, another thread, right? So
Right.
objective of our threading is to possibly reduce our execution time. Why we are using multi-threading? Because I want our objective, our task done as early as possible, right?
Hmm.
So multi-threading here help us in the real life application. Whenever you have some task, let's say I want to build our house, let's say we build a four wall, right? Okay, simple. Let's say I am building my house, right? And this is my plan. Now I want to build a four wall, wall number one, wall number two, wall number three, wall number four. I have just apply one person, then one person maybe completed this wall, then next wall, then next wall, then next wall. So I
Right.
say, why not I apply four person, right?
Right.
So one person doing this is only one, this person doing only one, this person doing only one, this person doing only one. So
Right.
overall, our objective is meet early, right? Similarly, concept implemented in a programming language.
Hmm.
Programming language sometimes say कि this task and this task are independent. Two person can start working simultaneously, right? Is it clear? So, question is that which task you are going to decide. This is done by different person or different threads. That means the task have independent. Means ki this task have no any kind of dependency with this task, right? So that ki this can easily parallelly do. This is also parallelly do, right? But whenever in a real life, sometime we can find some task, some work that can be started parallelly, that can be done more than one person. So those work, those
But
tasks, yes,
this one is called by the main method, right?
We'll
But
think, we'll think. First, understand the concept. Surely we'll think how to implement, right? Right?
okay, okay, okay.
First, let's understand why we are using thread. Okay, and which case we are going to use. Okay, right? So work, some work is not possible can be divided, right? Some work cannot possible to divide. So those work is only done by the only one thread. But some work can possible to divide into two part or three part, right? So this work done by thread one, this is what the another thread, this is another thread, right? So whenever you are writing our business logics, we have to think our business logic, our program have a lots of things we have to do, right? To complete one software, right? So think how what kind of task can be done independently without dependency of this, right? So here what do you mean by dependency? Let's say I want uh, sum of two number. If this is the getting a two number, then I am going to apply sum, right? So if this line is getting the two number, then I can apply going to the sum. So this kind of activity is always go the one by one, right? If let's this work going to start, I want to sum. They don't found any two number. How they are going to the sum, right? The some work, some program can require to division, can be divided into the different chunk of work. Though different of chunk of work can be possible to executed by the separate thread. And sometime it not a possible to divide our work in the different chunk. That means those work is done by only one thread. Is it something clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now question, let's see how we can do. Let's I want this code is run by not a main thread but the my thread, right? This code run by not main thread, maybe it's a different thread, right? So
Mhm.
I want this line two must be executed by a main thread, but this two line can be executed by different thread, right? The question is that how we can create thread. Good question, right? So we have something indication to give our JVM. Hey JVM, I want to start new thread here, right? Don't do this activity in my existing code, right? So here say I'll do. So let's think. So for this, Java provide the simple mechanism. This is already, this is one class thread. By default, this is the one class, thread class is capable to allow you can start new thread. So question how will do? So let's think. This is the thread. Is the thread, what is the thread? Thread is the class. Just do this notice, go to the definition and check. Thread is the just simple one class. Notice the public class. That means we can create the object and let's see what kind of method they offer us, right? So notice this thread have a class and implement runnable. So this is the one thing which is runnable. So implement means surely this is the interface, right? So that one class can implement another interface, right? So here we have another terminology we understand. This is the runnable. So this complete you can say multi-threading, whatever going to learn, we are going to use this two concept. One is a thread class. Thread is a class. Okay,
Correct.
thread is a class. Okay, and thread class implement runnable class. Okay, runnable is a an interface. How to know? So notice whenever going to definition, notice this implement runnable. What do you mean by implement? That means surely this is the interface. Go to look this interface. This is the your functional interface. Functional interface. Why? Because this interface have only one method, that is the run. This is the abstract method, right? Whenever you are defining any method inside an interface and this function, this method don't have any body, that means this is the abstract method. So what do you mean the abstract method? Means ki someone, some implementation class, or someone maybe different way to implement this functional interface. Already you know four way to implement functional interface, right? By
Right.
class, by anonymous class, by method reference, by lambda, right? So all the things again we are going to understand here. So first things, how we can create thread class. Let's say option. This is thread class. I can create the object. Let's do thread uh, equal to new thread, right? I can do, right? So notice, and here say if I do something, let's say here say thread dot, lots of method they have. Like you notice here, dot join method, dot start method, dot run method, dot get name, priority, stake, lots of method they have, right? Is daemon is will coming soon. We'll discuss all the method, right? But here, how we can start thread? First thing, let us. They have one method like start. This is the method where the new thread are going to start it. So what we have to do, we have to create one thread object and say, hey, going to start. So this start method is give hint to our Java virtual machine JVM process. Hey, now programmer want to start new thread. They don't want the the code written in only main method. So this start method give hint, right? So start method from where you getting? Start method is get from your thread class, right? So
Right.
notice this schedule this thread to begin execution. Thread will be executed independently from the current thread. Okay. So whenever this method you could call, now compiler say, okay, hey, these the main threads are currently executing from this line, this line, this line, this line. Once reach this line, so current thread say, hey, main thread say, now you want programmer want to start a new thread. So they just request, hey scheduler, can you start new thread? So here, this is the main your main thread. Main thread is starting executing this line, this line, this line, this line, this line, this line. Once they reach at this line, start. Okay. So here they are going to request our scheduler, your OS scheduler, CPU scheduler, hey scheduler, our Java virtual machine JVM want to start one new thread. So they are started in parallel different thread parallelly, and after that they are going to do another work. The main thread, current thread again going to working the next line, and parallelly this thread also going to start whatever they are going to work in the parallelly. So this is the start method is responsibility to generate new thread just parallel to the main, right?
Yeah.
So question is that whenever I am start method are what going to the print, what going to the do, right? What is the doing? If I run, let's main. Let's here say main 2, here say main 3, right? Here main 3, here main 4, right? So whenever I run this code, they are executing this line, just I commented out, okay? As of now, okay? Leave it, not an issue, okay? When I run this code, it will simultaneously main thread do this, also do those. The problem here question, are you thinking what this thread doing? All this line printed by only main, right? Main done. So here we have to not tell compiler, not tell thread, ki, hey thread, what you will do? Surely this is the main thread started and parallelly my thread also started. But here I am not telling the thread, hey thread, you have to do this code in the separate thread, right? The question, how we can do? How we can tell, hey thread, can you run my this code? Okay, so how do? So there are multiple way to inform. There are multiple way to inform, hey thread, you can do call this my method, right? So what are the way? Simple way is you just say this is the method somehow here in the constructor. So notice Java thread class have a multiple constructor. Thread class have a multiple constructor. Go to the notice this is the default constructor, right? They are not passing anything, right? Next have a notice constructor take a one argument runnable task, right? So this thing we can use. I'm say whenever thread going to run at that times we have to pass something here. So what I have to pass? I have to pass runnable. A runnable is the interface. So question how I can pass runnable object? Here I cannot pass runnable because you cannot until we need the object here, right? So let's go simple way. So thread class say okay. Uh, Instead of those, this thread class notice already implemented your runnable interface. This thread class already implemented runnable interface. What do you mean runnable interface? Means ki this thread class must provide the run method, right? Notice here, this is the run method. So if thread class provided run method, then what I have to do? I have to override the run method. By default, whenever you call the this start method, they are internally here. Uh, Start methods are internally call run method of runnable interface. Okay, clear? So whenever you say start, so internally the logic is implemented. Internally they are going to the call run method. Run is the method. So here you have to write some run method. So question how to write? So that means this thread class already given run method. That means you have to override them. So how to override? How to override? So simple way, first way, simple way you can write instead of I am going to this thread class, I am going to my thread class. My thread class, okay? My thread and say extend to thread class, right? Now instead of this, no, notice whenever this is the class, this is the class, they can use the extend keyword. Inheritance. I'm going to use the inheritance. They say this is the my thread class, going to extend the thread class. And instead of here thread, I'm going to use the my thread. So here I'm going to the my thread class, right? And here I have to override internally start method call to the run method. That means I have to override my run method. So how to override? Override your run method. This is the run method I have to override, right? Why we are overriding run method? Because this internally start method internally going to call run method of your runnable interface. So here let's say s out hello. Okay, hello. Let's check hello. Which thread name? Just say thread dot current thread name. Okay. So let's this. Notice whenever I say thread dot start, by default internally start method going to call your run method. This method. And let's check what is the name of the thread. Till now any confusion? What I did, I say instead of I'm going to the thread class, I say I'm going to my thread class. My thread class just what they inherit the thread class and given the definition. He run method you have to give your logic what you want to do in a separate thread, right? So if I am run it, you notice this is going to hello print somebody. So notice here, hello is printed by your thread 0. Notice not a main thread, right? Notice. And even the good option, you can just say dot get name, get name, get thread name. Okay. So this is the one more specific method you can use if you want, right? What is the thread name, right?
Yeah.
Run. If I am run this code and let's look, I'm starting thread here. Notice all this is done by main. But this is not so hello done by thread 0. Even be careful, look the output. First line 1 printed. This is the line 1 2 printed by main. And once this I am going to say here, let's going to call s out. Going to call main starting thread, right? Main starting new thread. Starting new thread. Okay. So whenever I run this line, after this line, output come this line 4. Okay, line 4, and run it. So here notice line 1, 2, 3 all printed, and notice here I am starting the new thread. New thread started, and after that line 4 and main, still main printing. Notice after this they are going to call internally run. Notice run method I am using just the hello. Hello is print by thread 0. Or even you can say no, I want give the my name. This is the my thread, right? You just thread a my thread. You have a option, you can give some name, like here I want to give my name, my thread, this is the my own thread, right? Own, right? My own thread. That means in our constructor we have to oh, implement constructor, right? Constructor, right? And here you are just putting your constructor. So whatever I am passing here, this is my main thread. The same names are going to use by this here thread get name. Let's run here. So notice this is executed by my own thread. So this is the current thread name is the my own thread, because here I am created new my own thread. And what my own thread do, whenever you call start method, when we call start method, internally our JVM request, you can create a new thread. And our new thread, whatever we requested, they are internally going to the call run method. So in my class, this is the run method. So this run method automatically called. So run is the place where you want to do execution by the separate thread. So I want to main 2 also done by the my thread, right? So I just call my main to here, not the main. Notice here, I call from here. Okay. Simple dot static. Okay. So here say ki this is the my main to method. You can do one run by my thread as well as. So notice I done hello my thread, and my thread done. Hello done, right? So whatever written inside this main method is executed by the separate thread, right? And whatever written now in this main method is done by your main thread. So but this line is not just, this line is a request to our main thread. Hey, main thread requesting user want to start new thread. So from this line new thread started, and this line again done by the main thread. Let's run it, and notice even our my own thread are doing the same method 2 as well as. Notice method 2 is done by the my own thread, right? And this time method 2 done by the thread 1, right? Because here method 2 call from the main method, that means this code, that means this code executed by your main thread. A same method I can call from this run method, that means this is done by my thread. So here you are trying to say here two threads is started. One is your main thread, another is your my thread. Main thread whatever written inside a main method is going, and my thread whatever I written in my run method is going to be a separate thread. Confusion, Kenny, till now?
Yes.
Yes. Ask question.
No, I'm good. Yeah.
So whenever you want your own thread, then you can use this the start method of your thread class. Start method of a thread class. So you notice this is the my class. So I can call the start method because your class is inherited by the thread class, right?
Right.
And due to the inheritance, I can call this start method. Start method internally call your class run method. So sometime initial developer think if start method internally call this run method, then why I cannot call itself? Why I cannot say here thread one dot run itself, right? Can do.
Right.
So let's understand. I comment here, okay, and you look the output. Notice all this is done by your my own thread, right? My own thread, my own thread, my own thread, right? Now let's I don't call start method. I call just run method. Then what happens? In this case, you are not hinting JVM ki can start new thread. Just say simply one more method, run method call. Like here, method 2 call, method 1 call. Similarly, you call run method. So this method is going to execute when again your main thread itself, right? See, simple, what is this? Simple one class object and calling the method, right? If you run this code, then you figure out, oh, this is executed, but by main thread itself. Notice all the done by your hello main thread, because here there is no new thread started. All the activity done by only main thread. So this is the only trigger point where developer have. Developer want from here, I want like a main thread. Similarly, one more parallel thread is started. They must have to call this start method. Any the be clear? If you
So,
want,
so,
yes.
so when you type start,
Hmm.
um, so which line will execute after you
They
type
are
start?
going to execute whatever written inside your run method. This is the
Okay.
code are executed by separate thread, parallel thread.
Okay. Okay. And what about what's in the main method?
Main whatever written in the main method that is done by the main thread. All are
Okay.
done by the main thread. This activity done by the main thread,
Okay.
right?
Okay. So only that one is running
Whatever the say
separately.
thread dot start, right? That this thread
Mhm.
is the object of my class. In my class, we have a run method, right? So whatever written
Mhm.
here, that is only code are going to execute by the separate thread. Like a main method, this is definition. Whatever written in the main method, this all the thing done by your main thread.
Right.
We have given definition by default. Java designer given definition. Main thread is going to run whatever written in the main method, right? Similarly, for custom thread, for user thread, say whatever written inside the run method, that is going to run by your custom thread, your user defined thread, right?
Right. Right.
But you cannot call run method by yourself. You call by yourself. That means I'm not going to start new thread, right? That means that run by the main method itself. So please be carefully. You have to decide. I want to go this code in the separate thread. Then don't call run method you. Just let them JVM. JVM going to say, hey, can you start new thread for me and schedule my work, right?
Right.
So this is the starting point to start new thread.
Okay. So we don't type run.
Don't call run. You can call, but not whatever written inside this code is not done by your thread. That is done by main thread itself,
Mhm.
right? So this is the way, this is the way, one way you can do your own thread. You can start your own custom thread.
So you wrote those run code, or it was auto
No,
generated?
I have written. I know कि I have to override this run method. Why? Because I know कि this thread class have a runnable method, right? This run method I have to override.
Right.
Okay. If I am not writing anything here, if I am not writing anything here, I am not writing anything here. Just I say as out like this one liner. Okay. So
Right.
our thread just do this run. Just they do one liner. That's doing this, right?
Hmm.
Maybe our thread name you can plus, right?
Right.
So whatever written inside a run method is done by your thread. But the condition is that you have to start from thread, right? It is done by main thread, right? So this is the thread.current thread name. They just this is the one method which tell us ki this code is executed by which thread. What is the thread name, right?
Right.
So please use this start method if you want your code should be done by the separate thread. In separate thread, what you want to do, you have to mention in the run method. You have to mention in a run method what I like to do in this separate thread.
Right.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
So let's do practice this, and tomorrow we'll continue. There are multiple way to start threading, right?
Yeah.
So this is the one basic way. Okay. From tomorrow I'll continue after this. Okay.
Sure.
And for today class, any doubt, any confusion?
No, I'm good so far.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.